Kathy and Colleen. I was a little quick on the trigger to start our podcast, so that's kind of interesting. But again, this is our podcast for July 11th, which of course you're seeing on July 11th, and we are excited to talk to you today because, as usual, there's a lot of exciting things that are coming forward. I am feeling lighter and brighter in the month of July a little bit. I know that there's going to be a little bit of a challenging time. At least that's what I'm getting. But let's hear from Colleen because she gives us all the technicalities, the astrological connections.
I didn't know I was up so soon. Okay, so in this month of July, we have already by this time had 3 eclipses, and I think that's a good place to start because our third and final eclipse that we had at 13 degrees Capricorn was on the 4th of July, July 4th. So we're just a few days later from that. So here we're starting to see the initiation of all of these energies from these eclipses on June 5th, June 20th, and now July 4th, starting to unfold. Now, full moons, new moons, we all know that that's about endings and new beginnings with the cycles of the moon. The eclipses intensify those energies depending on what sign of the zodiac they're in, as far as for the collective. And then for you personally too, depending on where it falls in your astrological chart. So, with this last full moon lunar eclipse in Capricorn rules, to me, it rules the third dimensional reality. It rules the patriarchal system. It rules structures. It rules big business, big money corporations. It rules kind of the big guy, so to speak. So it's going to be interesting to see now that we are about it is exactly a week after that full moon lunar eclipse on July 4th, we're going to start to see for now the weeks upcoming what these eclipses have done, how they've shaken up the collective and how they've shaken up us on a personal level, as I'm sure a lot of you are going through some redirections and some changes as a result of these eclipses. But again, it's going to be an ongoing thing over the weeks to come and even maybe the months to come. The next set of eclipses don't occur until the end of 2020 and going into 2021. So these eclipse energies are going to be in effect until then. And on today, this day, Kathy's birthday, happy birthday, Kathy, July 11th. We also have Chiron going retrograde today on July 11th. And Chiron is the wounded healer and the shaman who performs deep soul healing. And Chiron brings up our past life wounds. Now that is for you personal, depending on where it is in your astrological chart. But with Chiron and where it's at for all of us, for the collective, it's in the sign of Aries. So as it's turning to retrograde motion, it's kind of bringing up from the subconscious this collective wounding that we have in regards to Aries energies, which is our sense of independence, our sense of self-identity, our sense of confidence and courage to move forward on our path. Aries rules initiation. So there could be some wounding as far as attempting to initiate something and have that confidence to initiate something and moving forward. Aries rules the self. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So it rules the individual, the self. And so all of these wounds on a collective level are coming up, I think. And to me, that makes sense. Self-reflection, absolutely. Makes sense in regards to where we are as a collective, regarding everything that's been happening for the last few months, right? A lot of things have been changing on a collective level with the COVID virus happening, the quarantine happening, riots and things like that happening with Black Lives Matter. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. So we're kind of going within to explore these wounds on a collective level of our sense of self and who we really are and what our truth is and what it is that we really stand for. Oh my God, Kathy, I got the same card. So absolutely.
She's going to hit them all, so I'll be holding up cards while she's talking.
Definitely. So, we're needing here to find out our individual truths, not what the collective's truth is, not what the big business truth is, not what our government's truth is. This is like, what is your truth and standing in your truth. And before we get to our, the next podcast, which will come out on August 11th, the other things astrologically of significance. I mean, we do have another new moon. We do have another full moon, before August 11th. But we also have a couple of planets changing signs, and that will be on August 4th. Mercury, the planet that rules our thoughts, our ideas, and our communications, will be moving out of the sensitive and empathic water sign of Cancer, and it will be moving into the fire, energetic, leadership-oriented, creative sign of Leo. So at that time, our mode of thoughts and our mode of communications will take on more of a creative, inspiring, take charge kind of effect. And then on August 7th, we have Venus moving out of the sign of Gemini, where she was retrograde in for quite a while here the past few weeks. And she'll be moving into the sign of Cancer, that nurturing, loving, sensitive sign of Cancer. And she'll be there, for a few weeks as of August 7th. And Venus rules love and relationships as well as money and finances. But I think as she moves into Cancer, it's really kind of amplifying or intensifying this divine feminine energy, because Cancer, being a water sign, is divine feminine energy. It's receptive, it's nurturing, it's allowing, it's intuitive. And Venus does rule love, the concept of love and beauty and harmony and balance. And so I think the divine feminine is going to really be inspired at that time. The other couple things I want to mention is just the energy vibration according to the tarot for the month of July and then the month of August, since our next podcast doesn't come out till the 11th. In the month of July, we are now vibrating to the Justice card. So we go back to this truth, Absolutely. The Justice card is about truth and fairness and things, coming back into a sense of equality. To me, it's the karmic rebalancer. To me, it's the karmic scales of justice. And one of the other cards I pulled from my energy oracle deck, it does say contract, but to me, I didn't think about this word contract so much as looking at how she's holding the scales. So this to me was like the scales of justice and this karmic rebalancing that in the month of July is going to be taking place, because that's what, tarot card it vibrates to, is that Justice card. And as we move into August, the tarot card that August will connect to for this particular year, 2020, is going to be the Hanged Man. And, the Hanged Man is about surrender. It's about sometimes sacrifice, and it's about feeling like you're in suspended animation. It's like a pause. He's hanging upside down from a tree branch. Surrender, absolutely. So there's this aspect of surrender. And along with those messages, astrologically and, tarot-wise, in my meditation, Kathy, I got huge transformation energies that were coming up. And I felt like that kind of went with that surrender, Hanged Man kind of card. It was almost like they were saying that there was going to be a pause in the energy. There's something about something about timing and something about a pause in the energy. Now, of course, there's still going to be things unfolding, and there's going to be, we're going to see some changes and redirections. But I felt like when they were telling me that there was transformation happening on an inner kind of level, underneath the surface, this transformation is going on, and there's this pause in the action. I felt like our angels and guides here were talking about the upcoming months after, like September, October, November, December. I feel like we're heading into some huge external transformations during that time. And not that there might be some external transformations for July, August, but I felt like there was even going to be more so the last quarter or so of the year. Yes. And I got transformation from this deck. I also, from the, I'm trying to look at the name of the deck, Work Your Light deck. It's a brand new deck. I also got transformation from this deck. So we definitely got some heavy duty messages of transformation that are upcoming. And they were also talking about, for me, this going back to the scales of justice and the karmic rebalancing. And they were saying that there was many possibilities, like many possibilities or potentials for what this karmic imbalancing is going to bring. And that's dependent on the free will of us as human beings, as individuals, and as a collective of where we're going to go with all of this. What decisions are we going to make? What are we going to, are we going to follow our truth, our own individual truth? Are we going to go with the, the masses? Are we going to get kind of sucked into the hysteria or any kind of the other, challenges that are going on out there? So I felt like this karmic rebalancing, or the the truth, the fairness, the justice that's kind of coming in July, feel like it's not totally set in stone what that's going to entail. Although they did say that there was great potential as far as one of the possibilities, probabilities, they were showing me a lot of abundance, like a lot of good things and good blessings coming in as one of those possible trajectories. So we just need to keep our minds, our hearts, our souls, our belief systems, in this more positive space, in our truth, and in this place of working towards recreating a new sense of structure for ourselves on this planet, on this earth, for humanity. And I felt like, this is in a lot of different ways. This is for the Earth Mother herself, paying attention to nature, paying attention to the animal kingdom. This is for how we treat one another, the divisions that are not needing to be there because we're really all one. And so the infighting between different groups, if we start to make different free will choices, we start to move into, to me, this is not our ego truth. This is our higher soul self truth.
Right.
So if we move into our higher soul's truth, we're going to be able to then bring this transformation around, so that that karmic rebalancing brings the abundance and the prosperity and the blessings that we're all looking for. So I'm going to stop for a minute, hand it back to you, Kathy.
No, exactly. I mean, I'm just looking at the span of cards because I was getting a lot of the same thing as I was meditating before we came on. Also, is the fact that I feel like everything is going to start to sort of re-keel, go on this path of, looking within, still looking within, trying to just stay within our own self. And it's funny because as you were talking about that sort of influx and that sort of resurgence that was going to come outside of ourselves and our universe, I had pulled the resilience card.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
is, this picture of this person, carrying that load on their back and, and just staying strong and true. But I feel like that's more true to ourselves. Like, again, everything that I have in front of me, I could show you, I'm probably going to show you actually, is a lot of, staying within yourself. There's a lot of creation, a lot of soul craft, meaning go inward to yourself, because I had gotten both of these came out in two different decks, but I feel like they're very similar. One is creation, again, trying to envision, where do you see yourself going? Where would you like your world, your earth, your personal space, your personal body, your personal being? Where do you want to create? What are you ready to create for yourself? And then, from this beautiful light deck, Shining Our Light deck, Soul Craft, which is about going within. Again, there is this creation piece of sort of getting out of your way and having some fun. So if you paint, or if you've never painted, and again, you can look for a class out there if you really want to. I think they're all starting to resurge again, but there's so many great things you can find on the internet, but sort of like getting that self creation out there. If you wanted to build a shelf, if you wanted to clean out your room and create something new, if you wanted to paint, paint your walls on your house, they're saying there's this part that needs to, like, your soul needs to create something, crafting. There's always, if you got younger kids, you can always create, you're always crafting. So, you got the same thing, very similar.
Yes.
Yeah. But also it's sort of like, again, sort of those scales to where, yes, have some fun for yourself, get yourself out of that sort of adult mindset of everything we're going through, especially if you have children, you're always trying to make it look like it's okay and everything's going to be okay. And, truly we do believe that. And truly we do know that. It's just getting whatever we're going through, there is a reason for it, and coming back to center for that. And again, through from our deck that we both didn't know we both were going to be pulling from. I got the solar plexus, which is all about going to the center of your body, because solar plexus is literally above your belly button. For those that may not know, it's in the very center of our body, in our being. And so it's where energy comes in and energy flows out from us a lot of the times. So, getting yourself very centered in that being so you can feel balanced, so you can feel connected, so you can feel as though you could take on the world if you needed to, and if you were called to do so. But it's also, don't give up the things that you want to attract, which is what attraction came to me. Just remember, we are in such an amazing manifesting time. It's almost as if you were holding a chalkboard and our chalkboard had been totally erased. So now it's like, ooh, I can create all new things, because all of that's gone now. So I can just start from scratch and create new. It's all about your perception about where we're going, and where you want yourself to be going. And this is the biggest thing. Keep your vibration high. Let your light shine. Look at that, how it's literally showing her heart, her sacral connecting, just that divine, and coming up and shining that love around every living thing. Yes, absolutely. That's what we're coming to, is to keep that consistent high vibration. Doesn't matter if we're in retrograde, doesn't matter what's going out there in the universe. Find your truth. Find your truth in everything. Going back to the truth card, oddly enough, find your balance, find your scales of justice, find what you're no longer willing to accept. For you, once you become the truest essence of light that you can be, everyone around you is just going to emulate. It's almost like you're the pebble in the pond. So if you drop into that beautiful pond, and then every emanation from that pebble goes out and out and out, so your children will be better, your loved ones will be better, your family will be better, the earth will be better, because again, you're just emulating such a positive vibration out there. And I have seen what 1 minute of what I tend to call for myself negative thinking can do. It can manifest so quickly, not to mention the way that you feel is such not where I want to be right now for me. I want to try to keep myself going forward. And, there's peaks and valleys with everything, and again, I'm not saying just push that stuff away. A lot of that learning comes from those moments. A lot of the learning to get us to that truest form of light that we're meant to be, to, where we want to go. The other thing too, with, speaking your truth, also came out the third eye chakra, which is all about the intuitive you, which is about you starting to take information in and going, what do I think of that? How do I feel about that? What is my intuition saying about that? And sort of not allowing yourself to be led down the primrose path. Really starting to listen, pay attention. And I'm not saying, I'm not encouraging you to watch the news. I'm just saying, as things start to filter in, because trust me, I don't watch the news, but I hear about it all the time from everybody else. Right. So, words have a way to get to you if they need to. And again, it's great to stay informed in some way. But again, how do you feel about that? Where do you want to go with that? Do you want to go into chaos? Do you want to go? They're choices, all your own choices. And if you're feeling like nothing's really happening, if you're feeling frustrated, you're allowing yourself to be in that space. So shift your perception, find joy. We've said several times, take a walk outside, go on a guided meditation that brings you joy. Listen to music. Music can always bring me so quicker into somewhere I need to be.
And that's what the hanged man influence is about. The hanged man is hanging upside down from a tree branch, and he's looking at things from a different vantage point, a different perspective, and needing to look at things from a higher perspective even, rather than seeing with your physical eyes, see with your spiritual eyes. And if you don't mind, I'd love to jump in on this creation aspect you were talking
Absolutely.
about. And then you brought up the intuition, because it just popped into my mind, and spirit, I'm sure put it there. is literally last night when I was, going through my nightly routine and getting ready to wind down and get myself, going to bed. I, was brushing my teeth in the bathroom, and I looked up in the corner, and there was a spider energy. There was spider, like a big spider, and it was crawling, across the walls and whatnot. And then when I stepped outside of the bathroom, now I don't ever try to, I don't like to kill animals at all. So it's not that I'm in love with spiders. If I had to pick one up, it would probably freak me out. But I usually just let it go about its thing or whatever. And so the spider I left in the bathroom, when I walked outside of the bathroom, there was another spider hanging from the ceiling. It was a different spider. And so I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. And then I just kind of kept going about my business. And then I was really getting ready to, and I was thinking about the big spider in the bathroom. I'm like, please just, go somewhere where I'm not going to see you. Please don't come near me when I'm going to go to bed or whatever. And so I'm getting ready to turn the lights out. And actually, I did turn some of the lights out. And I turned around to walk towards my bed. And that big spider from the bathroom was walking across the wall towards my bed. Like it moved fast because it came out and it walked across the wall, and it was like going towards my bed. And I'm like, oh no, we can't have this. So I had to pick it up, with a notebook of paper, and then, place it outside and whatnot so that it was safe and it wasn't any longer there. But anyway, the whole moral of the story is that spider energy as an animal totem is about magic, intuition, and creating your own fate. And in fact, from the animal tarot card that I actually have with me here today, it's the High Priestess. So, you brought up intuition and listening to your intuition. You brought up the creation aspect, and that's one of the magic aspects of the spider, is creating, using creative energies to create your own fate through your intuition, through your higher truth, through looking at things from a higher or different perspective. And so I truly believe that I saw that spider, or several spiders, last evening, to kind of bring in that message, to kind of just solidify that message that you're the creator of your own reality. You're weaving your own fate here, just as the spider weaves its web. You're weaving your own fate, you're weaving your own life, you're creating your life, you're creating the opportunities that you have, you're creating the abundance that is ready to pour into your life. And again, using that High Priestess energy, that intuitive energy, to bring it in is, I think, definitely part of what this message is supposed to be for all
Yeah,
of
it's
us.
interesting. I've had amazing interactions with spiders. For myself, and I always think of grandmother spider in a more shamanic form of it that I was taught about, and of course now I just sort of go with my intuition about what spiders do for me. I find them incredibly beautiful. I'm not a spider lover. I mean, I appreciate them and I love them, so that's not always true. I
Right.
appreciate them and I love them, and there is these ground rules within my house that I see you up there. I love and respect that you're, taking care of all the little beasties that you need to take care of, and I'm okay with that. I
Yeah.
cannot guarantee if you come down here that I can guarantee your safety, is what I always tell them. And
Right.
I have moved them several times. I have put them outside several times because I don't like to kill anything if I don't have to.
Right.
And so but what I find about them is that watching them weave, I actually was outside, I don't know, a few years ago, watching a pretty good sized spider in my garden because I just happened to be sitting next to the garden and just watching the work that goes into that and thinking, just feeling as though they don't think about it. It's almost like it's an instinct for them, that it's we know there's a reason why they do it, because they want to catch their food and they want, that's their home, and but they're so beautiful. If you've ever seen pictures of webs, they're just amazingly beautiful.
Absolutely.
But I also think of how we are interconnected the same way. Like you can meet somebody and magically they'll tell you that they know somebody. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you know her. Like, this is crazy, because there is this line of connection as to why we all sort of interact with each other and how we're guided to each other for a certain thing, that it reminds me a lot of a web. And there's such magic in there. Just spiders don't try to be anything different. They're just who they are. And so, a lot of what we can learn from animals, and it's kind of a conversation that we've been having now for a few weeks, Colleen and myself, about these amazing animal interactions that we've had.
Yeah.
To where they're so close to us and they don't move, or you're connecting with animals like that you've never seen around you. So it's such a magical time. Like, everyone is truly interconnected. And animals are not fighting with each other. They're not arguing with each other. I mean, if they're food, because that's how they get their food, they have to do what they have to do, I guess is how I look. But they're not, in any other time, they're not. Either they're protecting their home, they're protecting their young. But that's where it goes into. It's not like well, I don't really care for you, so I'm going to go after you.
Right.
It's never really from that perspective. And I think we could learn so much from that, of just being the true essence of who we are, and stop making excuses for, well, I made a mistake. Sorry. I'll try to see if I can correct it. I'll try to see if there's a way that I can get myself through this. Sort of just allowing ourselves to be human, allowing ourselves to not be perfect, and learning is the biggest key from that, is to, if there's a new situation that's in town, that's going on in your local town or worldwide, again, it's our perspective to say, do I feel comfortable with this? Do I feel comfortable with maybe getting out? And I've said this before, maybe getting out into public as much as I used to. Do I feel comfortable with that?
Yeah.
And some people I find are having a difficult time with that, trusting that everything's okay out there.
Right.
And again, it will come. Allow yourself to just be you, and to take it slow, and to take your time. And the creation of who you are, and the essence of who you are, is going to be forever changed. There's no doubt that I feel that everyone is going to walk away with something, but it's your perception as to what you want to walk away with.
Right.
Just imagine this time next year, how we're all going to be like, oh my gosh, do you remember when this happened? Oh, I learned so much. Because I will tell you, I know that'll be me. I learned so much from that period of time. Again, hopefully in a year from now, we can look back and say, I am so glad that happened, because it taught me so much. It helped me to become who I am now. Right?
Right.
And holding that light, letting your light shine, as Colleen and I have both shown you. What a beautiful perception that is.
Absolutely.
And what a beautiful interpretation that is, of letting your light shine, especially because I love the heart, the love, because that's what it's all about. I think in some ways, a lot of us have forgotten how to love outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
And even ourselves, I find it's taken me many, 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 many years to love myself. Still working on some of it.
I keep going back to, you were talking about the animals and the interactions that, at least you and I have been having with the animals and whatnot, going on walks, and there's a deer, not more than 3-4 feet away from me, and just standing there looking at me, the turkeys crossing the road, but how, you mentioned how they kind of interact with one another, and it has this kind of innate respect, aside from, again, needing to hunt, certain things or whatever, but this innate respect for each other, that they don't go after each other unnecessarily. And so it keeps coming back in my mind as far as, what's been happening with the COVID thing, and when we've gotten out of quarantine, and there's certain areas of the United States here, I don't know how it is the rest of the world, but I know there's certain areas that are mandating that you wear masks into public places, and maybe there's other states that haven't, gotten there yet, or that their governor hasn't mandated that. But I know, and I've been hearing a lot of news stories, and like you, Kathy, I don't like look out for the news. I don't like want to read it, but I hear about it, from other people. And there's been instances where, if an establishment requires you to wear a mask, and some people are just rebelling against that, and causing like arguments and fights, and it spirals out of control. And I even had a friend of mine here in the area who invited a couple of people over to her home for a social event, but she asked them very kindly to wear masks. And when these individuals got to her home, they just very rebelliously decided they weren't going to wear their mask, and one of them even started coughing, and it just really made her, insecure and, a little frustrated. And so to me it goes back to respect. Like I'm the first to admit that I'm a little rebellious. I don't want people telling me what to do or how to do it, or I don't like rules and regulations from, government institutions. But there's also this level of respect that's needed, just like the animals have with one another. Because if another person is inviting me to their home and saying, will you please wear a mask, I'm going to respect that. If an establishment, a store, a clothing store, a grocery store has the rule or whatever, or the governor says, you must wear masks now upon entering all establishments, I'm going to respect that, only because, again, my rebellious nature is one thing, but to respect someone else's place and what's going on, and respecting their health, and saying, well, I'm not going against this because I want to be a rebel. I'm going with this because I want to protect other people and respect other people, and be protected and safe in return. So I think we have to kind of like check ourselves, because I know there's a lot of people out there like me that are a little rebellious against the system. But if you think about why, especially with this particular instance of wearing the masks, why it's in place, to shift that perspective, like the hanged man, right? Look at it from a different or a higher perspective, rather than saying, well, it's just somebody trying to tell me what to do. It's more like, well, this is out of respect for each other. This is like respecting one another and our health and our safety in this
Exactly.
instance.
And you have a
And
choice.
so,
It's like what we've been saying. You have a choice. You have a choice whether to wear the mask or not to wear the mask. But like you said, when it's somebody who's requesting you to wear a mask, you have a choice whether or not to go.
right.
Because again, you don't know if their immune system is compromised, or maybe you do know, I don't know. But it's all about, that's always what I think. And this is just a healer's perspective, because I always think about, well, I'm going to wear one because I don't want you to get anything. If
Right.
I have for some reason come in contact with anything, I don't want you to get it, you know, from me, or even think that it could have come from me. So, I mean, that's kind of where my mindset is. But I will tell you, I mean, I have an issue wearing masks. It's rough. It's rough for me because I'm an empath, and not, don't like confined spaces. So, yeah, it's a little complicated.
I hear
So,
you.
but when
It's
I'm in the store, I do
not,
what I can do. And when nobody's around, I find that I'm okay if I pull it to here. And then once I see somebody coming, I pull it back up. But again, you have to do what you have to do to get through it. And we won't always be like this.
yeah, it's
And
it's not my favorite thing to do either, for sure. But I just, going back to the respect of the animals, and it dawned on me that so many things with, riots and division between people, and arguments, because everybody, we're not used to what's happening on the planet, so everybody's emotional barometer is a little bit high, running a little bit high. But if we just kind of check ourselves, and change our perspective and say, you know what, this is for the love and compassion and respect for one another that I'm doing this, not because somebody's telling me to do it and I don't want to do it. So I think that that's just an important message, in general,
oh,
not
absolutely.
really specific to the mask thing, but just as a general message, to err on the side of love, compassion, and respect for one another.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It goes with coming within, going within and finding, what is it that really is sparking, either you're not wanting to, everybody has opinions. Everybody has opinions. And some maybe the ones that you feel as though you're guided to live by, and that's fine. Because that's the one great thing about the US is we can all have our opinions and we can all voice them, as we've seen. But again, it's coming back to you and saying, okay, within me, within my small space, what does it feel right? What feels right for me to do as a human being, as a person that comes from love, as a person who wants to receive love, not only give love, where do I feel right with that? And not looking at, others out there saying, oh, well, they should not be doing that. I love the should word. I always try in my vocabulary not to use the should word because then I'm shoulding on myself. Thing. So I really try to avoid that word in some or replace it with something different because again, that was a lot of my mindset going back in the day. Had a lot to do with why I didn't love myself and why, oh, I should be like her. If I could just be like her. Oh, could I just be like him? Oh, I have to do it right. What's right?
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to you, what's right? You know, putting everybody else aside and not thinking about what anybody else is doing within your being, what feels right and what doesn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
So again, your choice. It's your choices. But I love that I'm feeling as though July, because I want to kind of, come back to the energetic piece of what I've been feeling. I feel that, and I was talking to Colleen because we always chit chat before we get on, which I don't know why we do that, but we always do, and we can't seem to stop ourselves. And it's okay. But I mean, July, I had to literally put my mindset, my happiness and joy when July comes because it's my birthday. So I'm like, July for me is like, woohoo! Like astrologically, we could be going anywhere. I don't care. It's my birthday. One track mind when it comes to July. But I look forward to it. I like my birthday. I like the month of my birthday, But so once I was able to sort of put that excitement aside, I was feeling a lot of energy sort of shifting, like almost like we're starting to feel a little reprieved, that we're starting to feel like we can move a little more. I know we still have, I feel like it's slow, like almost like baby steps,
Yeah.
that we're getting there very slowly. But there's hope, like there's this feeling of hope, like more hopefulness than we've had for a little bit. And again, of course, I'm just assessing, the information that I've received from the above for me. But again, I also feel like there's sort of like going towards August is there's this little like disruption. When the card came out, I was like, oh, I was so hoping that wasn't true.
Told that a few minutes ago when you were talking. I said, was there any other messages that we needed to share? And I got the same card that you did. And
yeah, because I feel like almost like we're kind of like going up the mountain, and then it's like, okay, hang on, stay right there.
yeah,
Don't anybody move. We're
right,
reassessing. We're rechecking things
right.
before everybody gets going. And, I've had a lot of questions of people asking me that. And I said, right now, they were very, I will tell you, intuitive wise, asking about what's going on in the universe. It's kind of like you get a little bit when it's time to get a little bit. And that's it. Because again, they don't want us to preconceive anything or put ourselves, they want it to sort of like flow the way it's going to flow. And there's a lot of self-will attached to where we are. And like I always tell people, we cannot predict self-will.
Right.
We just cannot. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of this like hang in there, like just hang in there because we're going to kind of like just be floating on that same line for a little bit. It makes me feel like a seesaw a little bit, like we're on the speed bump on the top of the speed bump, just kind of like, woohoo, we're just going to kind of like sway back and forth a little. So again, it comes back to those scales, the scales. And then as we go into August, I'm feeling almost like a little more work being done. Like we need a little work before we can move forward. Like we've got to do some, it makes me think of house cleaning. Just going to say,
Yeah.
but we have to do it. We
We
got to do
we
it.
as a collective, yeah, but
Yeah.
I also think we as an individual, I feel like that's what the free will piece is about, and only giving us a little bit because again, maybe there's nothing totally set in stone with these adjacent possibilities and potentials that I got in my meditation.
Yeah.
And I just dawned on me that I got this kind of 3 times. This is in the traditional tarot, the death card, right? Transformation.
Yep.
I got transformation also from this deck. And then I just realized that I also got the death card from this deck. So there's a lot of snake
Wow.
energy here as far as an animal totem. And this isn't negative to me. This to me is more doing that internal work. As if you look at the bottom, shedding the old. This is you shedding the old and what you no longer need on an inner level, so that you can resurrect or rise from the ashes like the phoenix, anew. So I feel like this little bit of a pause in the action with the hanged man energy for August. I feel like with giving us only little bits of information, because again, nothing's set in stone. The biggest thing they want us to work on is ourselves. I think the biggest thing is internal transformation of your own belief
Oh,
systems, your
absolutely. It's
thoughts,
coming.
your own
It's,
ways of living.
they
Yes,
let me put all the cards back. They would not let me put this card back, which is
self.
self-reflection,
Yes, and that.
coming to yourself, figuring out yourself, figuring out where you're going, what you're doing. But I had asked them, I kind of looked a little ahead, because when we get to August, I still feel like we're doing work, is
Yeah.
what I was feeling. So I said, okay, if we, can you guide us to anything, through towards the end of August? So I was kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but I got this card,
Oh,
which is
wonderful.
victory and success. So I do feel like September, even though I'm looking a little further ahead than we really wanted to. So again, but what it does is it gives me that something to strive for, something to keep in my mindset, because I feel like we do need those little dangles, those little
Yeah,
treats.
absolutely. Well, I also got in my meditation before we even got online, and I didn't share these, but I got the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles here in this deck. We're talking about new beginnings, fertility, new
Yes.
beginnings, new abundance, new prosperity, so there's definitely some good things to come. I also got the cornucopia card,
Well,
blessings.
oh, that's so funny that you just said that, because what I was hearing in my mindset is that help is coming. Like, help is coming. When you said abundance, I kept hearing help is coming. Tell them help is coming.
Yeah.
So again, from where we've been and how I know a lot of people are still struggling financially, even though they may be back to work. Those of us that have jobs, or those of us, I always include myself, those of you out there, that have jobs to where, you might not earn a specific exact pay, or you're brought back part-time instead of full-time.
Mhm.
Again, I keep feeling like help is coming for us, that is going to happen. And I'm very excited by that, because I know a lot of people who have been hit very hard
Yes.
during this time. And I really keep praying, that the government will help them out.
Yeah.
So, and I know there's a lot out there more than just the personal people that I know.
Hmm.
So hang in there, everybody. That's what
We
I'm saying.
got some positive new beginnings here on the way, as it says.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Victory and success. Da, 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 da. It's
Ah,
coming. It's coming. It's so
all
funny.
right.
When I held that up, I could see a 9, and it's actually a 6, but I was actually seeing it this way,
Oh my
which would
gosh.
mean September. So
Right?
that was kind of interesting.
Okay.
Um, but again, yeah, it's coming. And again, this year is going to be such a transformational year for everybody in some way. Everybody has their different paths that they're on, the different work that they're doing. And I will tell you, a lot of choices that are being made right now, it can be out of fear. So, because that's what everything, whether anger, frustration, all of that, it always comes back to fear. Um, so the best thing that you can do moving forward is continue to walk through the fear, walk the walk. Stand upright, stay positive, keep your vibration high, because you are the light that you've been waiting for, as
And
I have said
stand in
since
your truth.
the beginning. Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
everybody.
If you need any help whatsoever, Colleen and I are always here. We do free live readings on Facebook, live every Friday night from 6 to 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And I always have to think, 3 o'clock,
3 o'clock
3 to 4
Pacific
o'clock
time. Yes,
Pacific time. Hey, I did pretty good.
you did.
But again, enjoy the podcast. Let us know what you think. Give us things if you're looking for questions, if there's something you would like us to look at for the following month. I mean, please, by all means, just send it to us, at, I almost gave my own. And
Empoweredvoices11@gmail.com.
thanks. Yeah, I almost gave my own email because I'm so used to giving it. I've just been giving it out in the past few days. But again, yeah, absolutely reach out to us and let us know what you think. We would love to hear if you're enjoying, if it's, something that's been speaking to you. Please share both. We have a Facebook page, Empowered Voices. We also have, of course, our podcast on YouTube. So please share with your friends and really get us out there.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. Many blessings, love and light to all of you.
Love and light.
Bye.